Hi everyone, I haven't played Netrunner in a week, and there's a tournament coming up tomorrow, so I need to get up and shake. So I'm now playing against a rather skilled opponent on OCTGN. After playing with him, yes, his deck was very solid and his plays were very good. So this was quite I think this will be the center of the opponents that I'll be meeting at the tournament. So I hope to be able to consistently defeat these enemies. So I start by installing a pop-up window and a wall of static. The wall of static is a rather tough choice, but because I have an Astro Script in my hand and a breaking news, both of which are the two most important agendas in my deck, I need to protect HQ, so wall of static goes there. And because of that, R&D was porous and he scored Gila Hands right away. I draw into a character assassination, which is definitely not what I want to see. It's the only agenda in my deck that has an advancement cost of more than 3. So yes, it's something that I'm not looking to score. I draw into an Enigma. I'm very tempted to put it somewhere else, but I already put the RSVP on R&D because he had an R&D interface out. So I got a remote going, and I debated between Astro Script and Breaking News. I wanted to install one of those and get them scored right away because I know that I'm up against Kate. She doesn't have inside job. She cannot infiltrate through the server easily, and she doesn't have any tutors out yet. So I took the risk and I installed Breaking News. Why not Astro Script? Because Breaking News is losing Breaking News is not that bad. I only lose 1 agenda point to him. Having him scoring it is not much of a deal. And I get to do this. Close accounts after scoring the Breaking News. This is so powerful. I love it. I absolutely love it when that's why close accounts is so powerful in NBN. With Breaking News, you can easily stick tags and bankrupt the runner immediately. Astro Script, if he had I guess in that situation, scoring the Astro Script would be better. I would much rather have the extra token to play with, instantly scoring any Astro Scripts that I draw from R&D. The problem with that is, if he scores the Astro Script instead, not only will I lose an Astro, but he would be up 3 points to my none. So it's a very big risk. Now I realize that if I'm going to install in a remote, the only agendas that I should be doing so are the 1-point agendas, Gila Hands and Astro Script, because if the runner manages to get through my server, at least I won't be losing too many agenda points. 2-pointers such as Bill and Astro Script should be scored out of hand as far as possible. I installed the Jackson into the remote because I have this feeling he'll be able to get through. He has very few credits, but he has a Datasucker that's loaded up, and sure enough, the Parasite came out. So thankfully, I didn't attempt to score an agenda there. Knowing when your remote server is safe and when it's not is a very huge deal. That is very important in playing this game. I knew that server was vulnerable, so instead I put a Jackson out to waste his time and money. He paid 3 to trash it. And he wasted a Parasite, which could have been used to destroy the wall of static or that pop-up window. So that was a huge win for me. I have 2 Grims in my hand now. I was debating between a remote and using it on a central. Obviously, it goes on a central. Not much choice there because you don't want to give away free agendas. You might think that 7 points is a huge leeway, but don't take the risk. 7 points of agendas is way too many to risk. Yes, even 1 or 2 points of agendas, try not to give them away. Even if the Grim manages to trash a program, which now it won't, thanks to Sharpshooter being on the table. Even if it trashes a program, them scoring 1 or 2 agenda points for it, it's not very worth it. So, yeah, the Grim goes on the central servers to secure that. I draw into another agenda, and another agenda. So I have now 6 agendas in hand. Thankfully, I have 8 credits and a sense hand out on the table. If I'm the runner and I see this, what I would have done was to trash the sense hand. But clearly he doesn't do that. Instead, he runs R&D and forces me to res my RSVP. Because of that, I'm not able to score any agendas next turn. Maybe a breaking news. Nothing else other than that. So yeah, that is a good play by him. If you don't feel like trashing a sense hand, you should run. Force the corp to res ice such that they do not have enough money to advance agendas. Holy crap. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 points of agendas in my hand. I have 13 points of agendas in my hand, and 2 of them have been scored. This is ridiculous. The worst thing is that I cannot fit them all in my hand, so the character assassination goes in archives, which is very, very dangerous against an enemy with Datasucker and Desperado. Anyway, the next turn he doesn't trash the Sand, and I go above the 8 I have 8 credits exactly, so I score the Astro Script. Of course, he trashes the Sand. Obvious thing to do. Good for him. And of course, you notice that now he has 2 Akamatsu mem chips out after my first power shutdown. So now there's no way that my power shutdown will come to use. Oh my gosh, another view. I think I've drawn nearly every single agenda in my deck right now. I have all 3 Astro Scripts, all 3 views, 2 breaking news, 1 Killer Hands, and 1 character assassinations, all drawn. The good news is that I have 3 Astro Scripts ready to be scored to win the game. The bad news is I have no money, and he just got an Upman out. Now HQ is vulnerable. He's doing the right thing. That's why I say he's a very good opponent. He knows where to attack. He senses blood in HQ. He knows I've drawn a lot of cards. He knows that there must be a lot of agendas in there. And sure enough, he wrecks face. He runs there twice and scores 4 points in 1 turn. Immediately. And he still has 2 more clicks left. I'm holding my breath now. He's on match point. Another 2 points worth of agendas and he'll win. Thankfully, I know that R&D is more or less secure, so I'm not that worried about it, even with the R&D interface. Now, here's the dilemma. I can Astro trade out, but this will leave HQ rather vulnerable. On the other hand, if I cred up to 9 credits, I'll be able to use the Grim to defend my HQ, but that might be too late. Because he has a sharpshooter, he can get through it once and score the winning agenda. So I decided to choo-choo Astro trade out, putting me on match point as well, and praying so hard that he doesn't hit either of the views in my hand. He goes for R&D. R&D lock is the obvious thing to do, especially as a shaper, but what he doesn't know is that if he hits HQ 4 times this turn, he would most likely have the win. Well, so he sees nothing R&D and he goes for HQ. He knows. That's why I say he's a good player. He knows that there's something in there. He sees the hedge fund. He knows that I have a hedge fund there. He tries again. I think this is quite obvious. If he sees me not using the hedge fund, it means that I have agendas in hand ready to go. But instead of running 1 more time the last turn, he hit up Katie Jones, and that cost him the game. I got very, very lucky there. Both of his HQ accesses, he did the right thing. He accessed HQ twice, but he's so unlucky. He hit the hedge fund both times. If he had hit the breaking news, it would increase his probability of hitting a build the next run. Or if he hit the build, that's it, game will be over. But yeah, I suppose I also had my share of bad luck because I was agenda flooded to the max, and my only Jackson Howard was trashed earlier on. So yes, both of us had our unlucky moments, and it just so happened that I came out ahead. I really don't consider that a win. I think that easily could have gone either way, depending on the random accesses. And yeah, it was a very, very even matchup, and I must say that was a very good, very close game. We both had our shining moments, and we both made our mistakes. Yeah, I probably should have reshuffled the Jackson to increase the gender density, and maybe scoring the Astro Script earlier would have been a better option. Well, with all that said and done, that's the first game. I joined him in another game where I pit my runner against his corp. And tune in to see how that goes. Thanks for watching. See you around.